Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Guitar Chat number 39. 39 guitar chats already, and I just can't believe it. Here we are, still here, like always, talking about music, about life, learning a lot with all our guests. And well, we don't stop. We keep doing this, we keep moving forward because we are having so much fun every time we're doing this. And we are so happy that our family is growing, by the day, by the week. And I am very happy about that. And hopefully you guys are too, because, we're having so much insightful conversations every time we do this. And that's very cool. My name is Sefo, I'm your host. And this Guitar Chat program is brought to you by Vegatrem, the best tremolos in the market for sure. That's right. Well, and being part of this family has its perks, of course, One of them is you're gonna be eligible to win a VT1 completely free. The only thing you have to do to get that is be subscribed to our YouTube channel. You can hit a like in our videos, and also you need to leave a comment in our live feed. Those only two things are required to be eligible for the giveaway. Every program we say the name of the winner of last program. Okay, so the winner of last program is Ángel Montaño Díaz. Congratulations, Ángel. Felicidades, Ángel. Tú eres el ganador, Ángel Montaño Díaz. Para ahí que te va. And that's it. It's that easy. You only have to be, subscribe to our channel and leave a comment in our live stream. Also, during this interview, I'm gonna be saying a discount code with which you can go to our website and apply it. Write the discount code down, and that way you can get a discount as well, which is very cool as well. And you can use it not only for one tremolo. You can buy 10, 20, however you want. Okay, it's that easy. It's very cool, because this is, as I said, the best tremolos in the world, and you guys, just for being part of the family, you can have these perks, and it's very nice. Well, without further ado, let me talk about today's guest. Today on Guitar Chat, we have an accomplished musician who has been working as the lead guitar player for Chris Isaak for the past 27 years. Since joining Chris's band Silvertone in 1995, he has recorded 11 albums with them, toured the world, made over 100 TV appearances, including on the legendary SHOWTIME series The Chris Isaak Show. He also has worked with artists like Booker T, Michelle Branch, Juno Brown, Michael Bublé, James Burton, Glen Campbell, Brandi Carlyle, Mike Clark, Shawn Colvin, Diddley, Bo Diddley, Minnie Driver, Pete Escovedo, Gloria Estefan, Stan Getz, Gillespie, Emmylou Harris, Lisa Loeb, Vince Neil, Stevie Nicks, Joe Pass. I could keep going on, dropping names here because this resume is something else. Besides his work as a guitar player, he also plays bass. He's a producer. He has an extensive career as a producer, as well as several records on his own, and has also composed music for films and television. So please welcome Mr. Hershel Yatovitz. Welcome, Hershel. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Sefo. How's it going, man?
Very well, man. I'm very happy to have you here. It's a pleasure, for us to have you as part of the Vegatrem family, of course. And it's a pleasure to have you today, so we can talk about your career, about your, all your musical endeavors. And everything else, actually. Anything you want to talk about, we're going to be happy to learn it for sure.
Excellent. Maybe some animal husbandry or something.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. This is the cool thing about this, we start talking about maybe music, guitars or whatever, but we can end up talking about anything completely unrelated, and it's totally cool, because we're here to have fun and everything. Well, first of all,
it's great to be with you.
Yeah, man.
It was great to finally meet you guys at the NAMM Show a while
ago. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I remember that very well because we had so much a good time with you, and also you and I we got to jam together for a little bit. I don't know if you remember that.
You know what I remember is that you're freaking badass with killer ears. You have great ears, because I just started improvising some stuff. And you were just on it, man. You're a great player, Sepha. I really
thank you so much.
Blown away. Yeah.
Man, I really appreciate that, especially coming from you. Thank you very much. And I
mean it. I mentioned it at the time to the other guys. Maybe they didn't tell you because they didn't want it to go to your head or something.
Probably. Probably that was it. Yeah. Well, but anyway, I still remember that jam that we had, and it was pretty cool, because I think we got to make music as opposed to sometimes, what happens in the NAMM Show. Sometimes the people just are very, very worried about showing off, but we actually got to play some cool music, and that's something I really appreciate,
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm moved that you remember it too, but it really is kind of how I roll. I'm not a shredder kind of a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was young, I was really into Al Di Meola and John McLaughlin and all these super fast guys.
Yeah.
And as time went on, I just like to have a melodic or a really cool rhythmic syncopated thing, or some kind of I like music to have space in it, because if it's all filled up, then the listener is just kind of like a sponge. All they can do is just to go, as all the information comes. But if there's space, then the listener can feel. And that's what I'm all about, is helping to lift people up and stuff. So that's the types of music that appeal to me, or the type of playing. If I'm playing the guitar, it has some space in it. It might have a little bit of themes and things to help people feel more included.
That's right. That's right.
And the NAMM Show is crazy with people trying to impress, and it's just, there's so much. It's so loud with all the different booths and all the, it turns into noise.
Yeah.
And my mom told me that when I was in nursery school, they had music time, and they pulled out all these little musical instruments for all the kids to play. And I ran out of the room. I ran outside. And
really?
I refused to go back in, and I said, "That's not music. That's noise."
Oh, because of the noise. Yeah, because everybody was playing at once, or what?
Well, yeah, they're little kids, just on little instruments.
Got it.
And I was like 4 years old or 5 years old or something. So that's why, I space out my NAMM shows. I don't go every year.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I mean, it can be overwhelming. I completely understand that. It's like Disneyland for musicians, especially for guitar players. But at times it can be a little too much, because it's like a lot of information for many hours.
We just kind of got lucky that day. I think it was quieter while we got to play.
Probably, yeah. Probably we got lucky. Yeah. Well, let me ask you. Right now, you are in. If I'm not mistaken, you are in Oregon, right?
Yeah, I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Okay, that's a pretty nice town, as far as I've been told, right?
It's fantastic. Everything's great about it. It's beautiful. It is really lush and green because there's a good amount of rain.
Okay.
And amazing food, amazing culture. There's just killer musicians. A bunch of musicians moved here from New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina hit.
Okay.
And they had, they lost their homes and what have you, and they moved here. And I met a whole bunch of these people, and they have New Orleans style Mardi Gras parades, and they do everything. I've gotten to play with some of them. They're really wonderful musicians. And there's a big jazz scene here, and the biggest thing is blues. It's the third biggest blues city in the United States, which a lot of people don't know. And I have a friend, Peter Damon, who runs a blues festival, and 500,000 people come to this blues festival over the course of a weekend, and it's just amazing. And in fact, I got to play Chris Isaak headlined there a couple years back, and got to play for my friends here in town.
Nice, and your neighbors and everybody, right?
Yeah, right on the river on a big stage. It was really a lot of fun. Yeah.
Man, I'm so glad to learn that, because I had no idea, that there's a big music scene in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What's really different is that the blues players and the jazz players don't mingle very much. I'm from the San Francisco area originally, and everybody just kind of played whatever. Like musicians like me would play more of a blues or rock gig, and then go around and play straight ahead jazz, and it was no thing. But then when I moved here, I discovered they don't mingle. It's weird.
Wow, why is that?
I don't know, but then it leaves me feeling like no one's friend. No, not really. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in the middle. Like, if I go and play some jazz, and I talk to those guys, they don't know any of the blues people.
Oh, wow. So it's like two
people, they don't know any of the jazz people.
It's kind of, so it's like it's like a totally different world, right? They are in the same city, but they don't get together.
Yeah, but I'm happy to report there's been no violence.
Well, that's good. That helps,
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, so you live now there. I mean, but you're originally from San Francisco. You just told me, right?
Yeah, I'm from a town called Palo Alto.
Palo Alto. Okay.
It's the epicenter. It's where not only the entire computer industry was born, meaning Apple, IBM, and Hewlett Packard all started in Palo Alto, and so all of the technology, including what we're using right now, was greatly impacted. And the other thing is a lot of the psychedelic music scene, the Grateful Dead, were from Palo Alto.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah,
nice.
we dropped out of the same high school, even. But it was a really neat place in the 70s when I was a little kid.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you were in the middle of all that scene, that that environment, and that touched you, right? In a pretty cool way, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very forward-thinking, progressive-minded kind of place, and so I grew up embracing. Also, my parents are amazing. They really exposed us to all the culture that they could. And, my parents are really into different cultures and anthropology and different languages and foods, and so I was really exposed to a lot of different things. And because Stanford University is there, when I was running a recording studio, I would have these exchange students from all over the world who were also musicians. They're there to study, and they would come, and I would produce their demos or records or different things. And so I got to do, like there was a woman from Africa who I did a couple albums with, and put together a band for her to play live shows. And she had some other friends from Africa who were also at Stanford, and they put on the full, beautiful, colorful costumes, and they danced, and she'd sing, and it was really amazing. And there was a lot of Latin music and other things available to me because it's a really diverse place, San Francisco.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
So I really was kind of I kind of consider myself sort of a musical slut. I just
Okay.
I'll play any style. I don't play classical much at all. I just haven't studied that. But I just there's only two kinds of music, good and bad. That's my.
I couldn't agree more.
Either it's in tune and on time enough to be good, or not. Right?
Yeah.
And then of course there's the lyrics. I don't want to get into that. It's a long one.
Well, you can also, yeah. It's not a problem. Actually, you know what? Normally in this show, we never talk about lyrics, and that's something that I miss, because I don't know if you're into that, but because I know you also write songs with lyrics and everything, right? But I think it's.
I'll talk for a second about my relationship to lyrics,
Okay.
which is a little bit odd.
Okay.
And I think I'm just kind of wired. I mean, originally I picked up instruments because my voice just wasn't doing what I wished it would. I'd be walking to school as a little kid and trying to sing and make sound. I was kind of like a little mini Bobby McFerrin, trying to make noises and sounds and stuff. And it never came out like I wanted it. I just wasn't born. I wasn't born with the golden pipes.
Got it.
And nowadays I sing, but it's a little bit more utilitarian. I don't call myself a singer by any means, but I still do it anyway, and I release it to the public because it feels good because I write lyrics that I hope will lift people up, and so I feel like it's worth my ego suffering to get this out there. But what happened is I picked up. Dizzy Gillespie came to my school when I was in 3rd grade.
Okay.
I was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 8 or 9. And they had this special program, and he was taking a trio all around the country and playing for kids. It was like a government-sponsored program. And so he came in there, and they my school happened to be in the middle of the town, so they bussed all the rest of the kids from the other schools in.
Okay.
And there he was with his bent trumpet and the frog cheeks, the big puffy cheeks.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. And the next year, it was 3rd grade. That's right. So I would have been 8 years old. And the next year was the first year that we could play. And so of course I picked up trumpet first.
Got it.
Because Diz got me hooked. And then I started playing guitar a couple years later.
So your first instrument was the trumpet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just sort of, and I started being a tutor, tutoring younger kids at that time in trumpet. And then I picked up guitar when I was 12, and then when I was 13, we had a music teacher who wasn't a guitar player. He was taking a night course, but he was trying to show us how to play guitar, and I could already play, so he asked me to help. And so I got into kind of the education thing right away because I had enough natural, innate abilities that I could play well enough to show people stuff.
Yeah.
And I mostly learned from the incessant questions from all of the students.
Really?
That I had to figure out how to answer if I didn't know them.
Man, that's pretty interesting, right? Yeah.
If you teach, you learn a lot, because I
That's
believe
right.
all human beings are we are all students and teachers.
Oh yeah.
Constantly. That's how this thing on Earth works.
That's
we're
right.
here to grow and help each other grow, and so we're always, the teacher is a student as well, and the student is a teacher as well.
Yeah, that's right.
But, that's supplemented because my parents weren't going to go out and buy me a wah-wah or a fuzz box. I had to earn the money to do that. So it enabled me to get the stuff that I needed. And Palo Alto was such a rich place. I saw somebody's Suzanne Olsen here on the screen mentioning Michael Hedges, and I knew him. An incredible guitar player, real innovator. And if anyone, he passed away sadly young. And if anyone has not heard of Michael Hedges, I really recommend checking it out. And then the other artist that is the biggest artist for me from Palo Alto area is Tuck and Patty, a jazz duo. And Tuck plays an old Gibson L5 jazz guitar, and he plays bass lines and chords, and he taps the backbeat and melodies all at the same time. And not with any tapping, no tapping on the fingerboard.
Wow!
And he's so adept at it that he can improvise while doing walking bass lines and not miss a single bass note.
Man, that's impressive, right?
I mean, the guy is he's a force that is really unique. So I heard it, both Michael Hedges and Tuck and Patty played at the same place, and I had a job behind it, being a janitor at a nursery school, cleaning up the diapers and mopping the floors and all that stuff. And Michael would come back behind the place. It was an old movie theater that had been converted into a cool place for music and what have you. And Michael and I hung out there a lot, but that's where I heard Tuck play first, Tuck and Patty. And Patty's an insane vocalist. She's many octaves and super soulful. They're virtuoso. She's a virtuoso of voice. Her voice is like a precise musical instrument. Yeah. And so I started studying with Tuck, and that's really where I got my education. Tuck had gone to Stanford, and they didn't have a jazz program. They just had classical there. So he kind of did his own self-study thing.
Oh, wow.
In order to do his school, get his school credit. So he mapped out every possible combination of notes on a guitar fingerboard. Thousands and thousands, like any possible. And then he subdivided it into what can be fingered by a human hand at once. What chords,
Yeah.
And I really wouldn't put it past the guy to lean down while he's playing. Vegatron right there.
Yeah, that's right.
To lean down and use his nose. But like he would just do anything.
Wow, man, that's dedication, right? That's like trying to move forward into the instrument.
Yeah. So he basically did fingerboard diagrams. So I didn't learn with tab, and I didn't learn on a staff, musical staff. I learned just with fingerboard diagrams and using my ear, and he taught me all the fundamentals of music theory.
Man, that's
in a matter of 2 or 3 years, and then he got me gigs with really amazing players. He got me a gig playing bass with Terry Saunders, rest in peace, who was just a virtuoso guitar player. And we would do like George Benson, 20-minute live version of Reason, note for note. He'd play it note for note.
Wow.
Like, who can cop George Benson? Only George sounds like George, but this guy Terry Saunders could, and he really worked me hard. I was young, and he had me, by the time he worked over me with getting my bass chops together, I was playing so hard. With my right hand that I was breaking strings, and my volume on my bass amp was way down. It was like 1/3 the level as it was when I started playing with him, because he taught me how to get the tone by yanking on the string and really get that much more like an upright bass or something.
That's very important in a bass player. Tone. Yeah.
I was breaking A strings and stuff. Like who breaks an A string on a bass? Like
that's crazy, man. That's
really yeah. So I got a lot of my stuff from them, and another guy who played with them, Reggie Ben, who just taught me about really squeezing the soul out of a note and allowing notes to bloom. And I remember I used to go over to his house, and he was a funky guy. He was big as a basketball player,
Okay.
African American guy with the deepest voice. Phones would barely pick up his voice. And
Nice.
I'd go over at about noon, and he'd wake up and put on Perry Mason on the TV, and we'd just play.
Okay.
And I played bass with him too. I found that if I played bass, then I could hang out with all the great guitar players and rip off their shit, you know.
Man, that's that's a great strategy, you know.
Also, bass is like, it's such a vital instrument. It's so different from guitar in its role.
Yeah,
so
that's
playing
right.
bass in a lot of R&B, Motown, soul kind of bands really taught me a lot about music that I would not get if I weren't playing bass or drums. And I played drums in a few bands too, and that was fun. But my wrist couldn't take, because I was just a maniac. I would play, I'd just be up all night and up all day. And if I wasn't working, I was playing, and I was frustrated. And at a certain point, I just broke out in a full body rash and was hospitalized because I hadn't had any sleep for 6 months. And I caught something. But playing drums is, drums is like this, straight up and down.
Got it.
Bass at the time, it was the 80s, so
yeah,
sideways for the
slap. Yeah,
and
that's
the
right.
guitar is like kind of like stirring the soup. So this big bump grew on my wrist.
Oh wow!
Very painful.
So you were playing the three instruments for hours every day, or what?
Yeah, as much as I could, and I was in bands. I was in about 4 bands, and I was working at a music store full time all day.
Oh wow!
And, so, because a guy needs strings, let's face it. It was just too much for me, so I backed off the drums. I still play on occasion, but nowadays I mostly just program because it's gotten so good. The technology finally is,
It's true. It's the same thing.
Even the guitar, I'm using Fractal Audio stuff.
There you go. I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got all these beautiful amps here, Fenders and Vox and Marshall and boutique amps. I've got this Tone King amp that I take out to local club gigs and stuff that I really love. But it's I mic them up and I record them, and then I plug in the Fractal, and the Fractal is just so good, and there's no noise. It's really incredible. They finally did it, and I tried. I so wanted to like the pods and all those things when they came out.
Yeah,
it wasn't time yet.
It wasn't ready. Yet. Yeah, the technology wasn't there yet. But nowadays the story is different. Yeah, the
Fractal and the Kemper and stuff. So I'm hooked, and I can play through a Dumble every day if I want, and it doesn't cost me $100,000.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, technology has its perks, that's for sure, and that's one of them. For us guitar players, it's lovely. It's lovely. I still love real amps, but I mean, you have to admit that technology, it's going so far that sometimes it doesn't make any sense anymore to bring an amp to certain gigs. For instance, if you go to a small gig, sometimes people are gonna frown upon you, if you bring a big amp, because it's like, come on, man, you already have all these things. There's no way you can bring this thing now.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the days when a lot of bar bands would bring in a Marshall half stack.
Oh yeah,
they don't anymore, because they know that the bar will fire them. It'll be too loud. It's just way too loud for. Those are really made for stadiums,
It is, yeah, they are for sure. I mean, especially when you see footage from Jimi Hendrix back in the 60s, with those 3 full stack Marshalls, no PA whatsoever, and of course it was, it was like 10 or 11.
They were created in the time before PAs and monitoring systems. They had PAs, of course, but they were not like every instrument through the PA.
There you go. That's it.
So, these guys, I guess, needed that to to have a powerful rock music impact, you know. But nowadays, guys are using 5-watt amps, instead of 100, or they're using 20-watt amps. You know?
Well, Keith Richards, he's been touring forever, like with combos, you know. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're super loud, but they're small amps, you know. They're not super. Oh
yeah, but they're Mesa Boogies. They're 100-watt amps.
Okay, okay, never mind.
Don't be fooled. You know,
well,
yeah, that's true. All you need is one speaker, you know, and it's a different sound. You got a sealed 412 cabinet. That's going to be that hard rock tone that you're not going to get from a single speaker combo amplifier.
That's right. Yeah. Well, tell me, I wanted to ask you about your whole story with Chris Isaak. You've been playing with him and touring with him and recording for 25 years now. I don't know if I'm... Yeah, 27 years.
Yeah, 95.
From 95, yeah.
Actually, yeah, I guess it's 20. How did that happen? It was just 25.
27, then.
Maybe it's as if there was a pandemic or something. And nothing.
That's right. Okay, let's not count those two last ones.
Right. That's
yeah. So tell me how you started with him and how all these years have been developing.
Well, I was working with this rock band original project called Durham. Later, they changed their name to Black Lab. And we had a producer, and the drummer got me into it. He's a great jazz drummer I had done a ton of gigs with. Really soulful, amazing drummer, Jim Cassis. And he was doing some work for this really wonderful jazz producer named Lee Townsend. Who produced a lot of records for contemporary jazz guitar players, like Pat Metheny and John Schofield and mostly Bill Frisell more than anyone, really.
I love Bill Frisell, man.
Also, yeah. So he managed Bill and produced his records, and my buddy Jim played on some records for him, and he brought me into this project. But it was a rock project, and Lee hadn't produced rock before. I don't think, not very much. He was a real like an ECM Records, really moody. He produced records for John Abercrombie, all those guys that were doing that long reverb, trippy jazz that's really out there.
Yeah,
it's spacey and it's not a bunch of chops. It's more space mood kind of stuff.
Yeah.
On the ECM record label. Anyway, so it was my first kind of really serious original band project. And it was going really well. And we got to the point where this kid from Palo Alto, which is nowhere near LA or Nashville or New York, which are the three music business cities, I found myself in a position that my band had a bidding war from record labels to sign us.
Oh wow!
So all this was happening, and then I get this call from Kenny Dale Johnson from Texas.
Okay.
Who's Chris's drummer forever, and amazing drummer. Famous for what we call the Texas butt drag shuffle. The shuffle that it feels like it's dragging, but it's not.
I know very well that feeling. I lived in Texas for 7 years.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah.
Well, then you would know that those Texas shuffles are bad.
They're amazing, man. I still don't know how can they make that. You know, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's fine. So the producer he had produced some records for Charlie Hunter, the amazing guitar player who for years now has used an 8-string guitar, and the 3 low strings are bass strings with their own pickup and own amplification, and then the high 5 strings are guitar, and they go into their own separate amplifier. And he was a student of Tuck Andrus.
Oh, okay.
And so he had that bass line thing going, but he took it a step further by having custom instruments.
The guitar,
strings.
That's right.
And they've got fanned frets too.
Yeah.
He is just a funk machine. Another person everyone should check out, Charlie Hunter. Anyway, so Charlie was in tight with Lee Townsend, and I guess what I'm told is that Isaac auditioned 50 guitar players, and they went through like 35 of them down in LA, and they just didn't fit. None of them fit. Their hair was too long. They didn't have the feel. They didn't have the feel that he wanted.
Okay.
And they told me that almost all of them had at some time worked with Rod Stewart. I guess he went through guitar players. But
Okay.
They came up to San Francisco and said, okay, well, let's try up here. That was a big, massive emptiness down in LA.
Yeah.
And so Charlie Hunter, little known fact, used to be a rockabilly kid when he was young. He had a Stray Cats tattoo and was really into it. And,
Wow.
Okay. And so he used to come around Isaac's shows when Isaac was in the punk clubs, doing rockabilly, more of a rockabilly thing,
Yeah.
in the very early beginning days. And so Isaac's drummer Kenny called up Charlie and said, "Hey man, we're desperate. We need a guitar player. We're about to go on a world tour." They had finished the record Forever Blue, and it was being released, and they didn't have a guitar player. So he called me for an audition, and I just said, "Yeah, sure, I'll come." Even though I knew I had my band that was in a band war, right? And so I got to the audition, and Jim Campolongo was in there playing before me.
Oh,
and
wow.
The door was closed, so I'm listening to Jim Campolongo shred sizzling telly riff.
Woof. Yeah.
Outrageous. And then I had to go in for my audition, right? And so I just figured, okay, well, I'm not going to take this gig anyway, so it doesn't matter that this guy can play circles around me. So I went in there, and I was such a jerk. I didn't learn the songs. Like, I listened to it was a long time ago. It was a cassette.
Okay. Yeah.
People can look that up on Wikipedia and find out what that is. I heard, and I was just trying to picture it on the fingerboard in my head.
Yeah.
And I got almost everything when I showed up, because I listened to it about 10 times. These 5 songs,
Okay.
And so I've got enough of a handle without touching a guitar that I can probably get somewhat close to these. But the one thing I got wrong was his biggest hit, "Wicked Game," the opening riff.
Oh, wow.
Right, the opening riff.
Yes.
But I went up to an octave, and they all looked at each other, and I was like, "Oh, that's not right, is it? Okay. Is it? Oh, is this it? Okay, yeah. Okay, let's try." So I pretty much just, it was the jamming part of the audition that got me the gig, not playing their songs. but at any rate, as it turns out, they offered Jim Campolongo and me the gig, and both of us said no. I think maybe they called. I don't know which one of us they called first. Probably him, because he played so amazing. He probably had a great audition. I came at the end of it, but regardless, we both said no. I had this band I was in, so what a jerk wasting their time. But when does a kid from Palo Alto get a major label opportunity?
That's right.
It just doesn't happen. So so then Kenny said, I said, well, how about like a month? I could free myself up for a month and do your European promo tours with you. Because back then we do promo tour around the world, just radio and TV, and then we do the concert tour around the world. Yeah. And the label paid for everything because the money back then came from record sales.
Yeah.
Before streaming.
That's something that's not happening anymore, I guess.
Yes. Yep. It comes from ticket sales and merch now.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where the
Yeah,
money
yeah.
comes from. So basically, they said, okay, you can come on temporary because they needed somebody. They had this tour booked.
Yeah.
And Kenny just figured, we'll get him to Paris in a limo and give him a lobster meal, and he'll don't worry about it. He'll quit his other band. But the end of the month came, and I was really torn, and I didn't know what to do because I didn't want to screw over my buddies I had worked for 2 years with on this original project.
Yeah.
Isaac really wanted me to stay, and so I called up the frontman leader of the original band, and I said, I just got distracted by the comments.
Oh, that's all right.
Very distracting. I called him up, and he said, he told me he fired everyone. He fired the manager, the producer, the bass player, and the drummer.
Oh,
He
wow.
said, but I want you to stay on, but I want to take 3 months off to get married first. And I was like, thank you for making my decision for me. So then I called up Chris in his room. We were in LA at a hotel, and I said, all right, I'm in.
I'm in.
So that's how it came together, and it's all because of Charlie Hunter, this jazz guy who's playing funky jazz, recommended me. Like, you never know, it's a word of mouth business.
Yeah, it is. It is.
People get jobs because their buddy said, this guy's good, try him.
That's right. That's right. But life is crazy because it's crazy because you never know where the opportunities are coming from, right? It's so random sometimes, right?
Yep, absolutely.
It's crazy, and 27 years later, you're still playing that lick, right? How many times do you think you've played that?
Wow, that's an impossible question to answer.
I know.
100,000? I don't know.
Probably. Man, but you do it so good.
Good thing it's a great riff,
It is amazing. Yes.
Good thing it's a great song, because a lot of artists will write some campy novelty song, and they're really serious about all the rest. The novelty song becomes a hit, and then they're stuck having to play that for the rest of their career.
That's right.
Because that's the one that people want to hear. That's the one they know.
Yeah. No, but
so I'm happy for that. And what I like about that guitar part is that it's the vocal part. I don't want to fall. It's basically
the same melody.
keeping that.
Yeah.
So it's a great example of really using melody. And a lot of people don't realize that it's the vocal part because it has so much character on its own.
That's right.
But it's the guy's playing the song. He's playing the melody. The guy being James Calvin Wilsey, rest in peace.
Okay.
Who was with Isaac for the first 10 years. Of his career before a couple guys, a guy named Spooky and Mark Goldenberg played in between for about 2 years or something like that, and then I came on. Nice. Yeah.
Man, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's touring the world. By the way, you've been touring around Spain. I'm sure, right? I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah, Spain's my favorite country.
Really?
I swear to God.
Are you? You're not saying it just because we are from Spain, right?
I swear to God, no. Barcelona is my favorite city in the world
wow.
I've been to.
That's pretty cool.
And I love Madrid.
Madrid's it's my town.
All right. Yeah. I had the most religious art viewing experience in Madrid. I went to see the Guernica.
Okay. Picasso's
big giant.
Yeah, Guernica.
War painting.
Yes.
And they had all these little smaller studies where he'd do the face of each person in different ways, and kind of planning what he'd do for the big piece. And I got to this one woman who's crying, It's just this woman crying. And I just lost it. Complete, just snot pouring out of my nose, just sobbing, tears rushing down.
Yeah.
And right as that happened, this group of like 30 children that were like maybe 5 years old all came up right up. And I'm like, here's this man who's crying.
Well, that's art, man. It's normal, you know.
Yeah, and then another year or two later, we were there again, and I went back. I went, this is not going to happen a second time because I've been through that already. Yeah. I went back, same thing. Just this time I had tissues.
You went prepared.
Yeah. But I have a cousin who lived in Barcelona for years, and she would take us around to the cool insider places.
Yeah.
The clubs with no sign on the outside, with really amazing musicians playing in there, you know, and everything starts at midnight.
Yeah,
it doesn't even really start until midnight.
That's right.
When I've been up till 3 or 4 in the morning since I was about 13 years old. I'm just a vampire or something. So I love that. And it's just, I mean, for an American, anywhere in Europe, it's just, the history is so huge. I mean, for me, I was having coffee with my cousin there in Barcelona, and we're about 50 feet away from these stairs. And she said, yeah, that's where Columbus stood to address Queen Isabella. I think that was is that right? Is that the right queen?
Isabel, yes.
Yes, and I just was like, couldn't even believe it, you know.
Yeah,
we just don't have that here at all. You know?
Well, you know, just give it a couple of centuries, you know.
Yeah. But the people and the food, maybe not so much the heat, but everything else about Spain. It's just the most soulful place. It's so soulful to me. It just really speaks to me. I feel great there.
The food's pretty nice. I have to admit that. The food's very, very cool. It's very nice. It's very cool. Have you ever been to the south, maybe to the south of Spain, Andalusia, something like that?
Probably, but I'm not up on my geography in my mind.
Okay.
But we were very blessed to get to tour all over Spain, do like whatever, like 10 cities or something like that, multiple times. So I got to know Spain a lot better than some of the other countries. In France, we played a lot of towns too.
Okay.
Back in the 90s, and I got a lot of awareness about the different cities, and I realized that, you know, like there's a stigma that that French people, you know, don't like Americans or whatever, something to that effect, and they're rude to Americans and stuff. And then I went to Paris, and I went, it's just a big city. It's like New York. New Yorkers are the same. You get outside of Paris, and they're not sick of the tourists. Yeah, you find lovely people. Paris. That's right.
And
it's just like anywhere else in the world. In the big city, people are a little bit grumpy. They don't want to stop and give you directions. You know, that's normal.
It's totally normal. I remember I've been to New York a couple of times, and it's exactly what you said. You know, a lot of grumpy people, and then you are in Texas, and everybody is friendly. Everybody just wanna talk to you, or you know, it's completely different. But it's pretty much because of that feeling, the small town feeling versus the big city feeling. It's completely normal. Yeah.
People are they're in a hurry. They don't want to be bothered. You know.
That's right. Well, man, there's so many things I want to ask you about still, but there's something that, first of all, you have a pretty cool record called Narrabeen, which is full of surf music, a lot of twang, a lot of 50s reminiscence. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But I think sounds a little bit like that, but it also has Latin elements, percussions and things like that. It's pretty cool, man. I really wanted to to congratulate you about that record, because it's very, very cool. I really love it, man. Can you tell me a little bit?
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Well, people have been bugging me because there's a lot of stuff in Chris Isaak's music, especially like the song Blue Hotel. That's a real surfy kind of vibe to it. The twangy tone, the reverb and all of that stuff. God, these comments are I'm not used to that. So people have been bugging me to make a surf record for a long time, and so that was in the back of my mind. But I was just actually I wrote some songs and recorded them, excuse me, with hopes of just trying to get them placed in for sync licensing on TV and film, commercials, whatever. And so I recorded some of them, but I didn't want to make straight ahead surf because there's tons of great straight ahead surf.
True. Yeah.
And personally, I'm of the mind I want to hear something that I haven't heard before, and I want to play something that people haven't heard before. To some degree, I mean, we're all steeped in tradition, and plagiarism is such a strong word, but but we all artists are stealing to some degree.
Of course,
their style is developed from all the favorite stuff they've heard and played. Gradually develops the person's style. So I have an opening song on the record that's straight ahead surf. I've got like maybe 3, I think maybe songs on it that are a little bit more of a straight ahead surf, but even then on the solos it's like, what is this, Jeff Beck plays surf? Or like I saw somebody sent me something from a forum where somebody was saying that they didn't like it for that reason, because the guitar solo was like not surf.
Okay.
like there wasn't enough. Wasn't enough of that or something for them. I don't know. Not enough Dick Dale for them.
Beware of purists, man.
That's right. That's good. Wise words.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the melting pot. I like to combine things, and I love percussion. It's hard for me to imagine putting out something without some percussion on it, as well as drums. I just love it. But really, some of that stuff is more cinematic, and it is also really kind of hokey and cornball. Which I got a lot of influence from this guy who I lived with when I was 18 years old, named Bill Richardson, who's a guitar repairman, luthier, and we had a couple surf bands very briefly, but he's the one. I moved in with him, and he had this massive record collection of the most strange music, just the weirdest guitar records from the 50s when solid body guitars were new, and they were trying to do space age sounds with whoever, and people like Jimmy Bryant, Speedy West and Jimmy Bryant, who were Ricky Nelson's band, but they put out these instrumental records with pedal steel and telly, and he and Jimmy Bryant played the very first telly. It was actually snuck out of the factory after Leo went home and taken to the club where he was playing, and he played the very first prototype.
The Broadcaster, that was the name, right? Of the before it was called.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the Broadcaster or Esquire or what it was, but it was the first.
Wow.
Anyway, another if you're a guitar player who wants to hear immaculate chops, listen to Jimmy Bryant. It's just mind-boggling what he does. And they were just doing, the most cornball, like just out there, but with absolute precision and not with a guitar tone like I just had. Telly straight into the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear this. I have a story about this that I want to share with you guys.
Yes, please go ahead.
But back to the record first. So that kind of corny goofball stuff, just like playing a melody really straight or playing so like I have got a song.
Okay.
You know, like that. I wouldn't necessarily play like that, but I was making this song. You know that you know it's a cornball thing that I was doing, but then I turned it into this big cinematic thing. I have a whole movie in my head that plays with it.
Nice.
What? My sound is low.
Your sound? You mean the guitar? The guitar sound?
Low?
I mean, we're only hearing the strings.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I thought you were unplugged. Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, okay. It's not because I'm used to using Zoom. I could play through Zoom.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Do you have?
Zoom, so.
Okay.
No, it's okay. I'll move on. I've spoken enough. Well, one of the guys from New Orleans who moved to Portland, his name's Chuck Barber, and he plays in the band that was originally called War.
Okay.
All that Low Rider and all those great songs. They're called the Low Rider Band now because of legal problems. But he's an incredible percussionist, and he plays all that percussion that's on my record. Anyway, I'll get to this guitar. This one of the greatest things about this guitar is that it has a Vega trim bridge on it.
That's right.
Which I absolutely love. They're freaking amazing. You guys really hit it out of the park with this.
Thank you.
Really different. It's really different and way better. So anyway, now that the sales pitch is over, this finish on this guitar is made from the old material from the original Fender factory that they used to use to make the block inlays on the Jaguar on the Jazzmaster guitars.
But do you mean the whole body or just the top?
Just the top.
Oh wow! Okay, the top. Yes, I see it.
It's pretty thick.
Got it.
So it probably affects the tone of the instrument.
Yeah.
Still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah. I just wanted to make you bigger.
Okay. Oh, I see. These guys from the Warmoth company that makes bodies and necks for guitars, they went down to the original Fender factory when it was closing in Fullerton, California.
Okay.
And they purchased a stack of big sheets of this stuff. And it's highly flammable. It's from Italy.
I see.
You know, celluloid is like, it's flammable.
I know.
And it off gases and stuff. You have to really treat it carefully.
Oh wow! What happens if you leave it? If you leave it on the sun, what will happen?
Well, it's got finish on it to protect it, so.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine in the sun.
Okay.
But when you store it, you got to be really careful. Or if you store guitar picks. I had a few gross of my little Hershel head picks. In a drawer in my house, and I opened up the drawer, and this wave of noxious gas came up at me.
Wow!
And I looked into the drawer, and they had like melted through the plastic bags, and they had corroded some of my guitar cables.
Oh wow!
Like, seriously nasty stuff. And this is just that regular standard guitar pick celluloid stuff. But they had been in there for a few years. And it's kind of weird stuff. But anyway, I had this custom guitar with a prototype whammy bar that this guy invented down in California using the Hubble telescope camera technology. The swivels on the cameras on the Hubble telescope use a certain system, so that they always return back to zero no matter what. It's impossible physically for them not to return back to zero. And he put that into a bridge called the Skyway Bridge. And I don't think they're around anymore. He kind of
disappeared,
kind of vaporized. Yeah. But I had this prototype guitar, and we were playing in Spain. And it was my number one guitar. It had an ebony fingerboard, and it was covered in this stuff. And I sent the guitar to 3 different luthiers. John Suhr did the electronics originally and put this system that he puts in guitars that is a coil that goes around the pickups in a certain way.
To make it noiseless, something like that?
Yeah, exactly. So that you could use real single coil pickups and not have the
That's a pretty cool feature.
It is, because I had already tried at that point probably 10 different types of quiet pickups, and none of them had the sparkle.
There you go.
So he worked on it. Eventually I got Nordstrand pickups, Kerry Nordstrand, a great pickup manufacturer and bass luthier, who originally worked for John Suhr. It was just my magical number one guitar. And we were playing this massive festival. There's like probably 25, 30,000 people on a super tall stage, like a 40-foot stage, which is all like metal scaffolding to hold up the stage. And Bob Dylan played before us.
Cool.
And he had a rack of his guitars, and he had 2 guitar players with, they each had a rack of guitars. And then Human League was playing after us, and they had racks of their guitars, and then our guitar racks, which are kind of like that, but like beefier and on wheels. And Bob finished his set, and it was high security because Bob Dylan was there. So you had to have 3 different passes to be on the stage. And my guitar tech wheeled out my guitar rack, and then took my pedal board out to the front to set it up. And he came back, and the guitar was gone. Out of all like 30, 40 guitars that were on that huge stage, they picked mine.
Man.
So then they found video footage. And actually what happened is there was a guy in a hoodie with all 3 passes hanging on him. And he grabbed that guitar right at the opportune moment. And he stuck it down this crack in the stage. And there was another guy, a second guy underneath on the ground.
Got it. Yeah.
He got the guitar and he ran to the fence, and they had cut a hole in the fence, and he passed it through to a third person.
Oh man!
And they got this on film. But anyway, since you're in Spain, I'm telling this story because I'm still looking for that stolen guitar, and the finish is exactly like this. I think they only did like a very, very tiny, like 4 or 5 of these.
So that happened here in Spain?
Yes.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
I'm trying to remember what city. You don't have to apologize, man.
No, I really feel bad, man. I really feel bad.
It just happened to be in Spain. Yeah. But I guess I should be flattered because, out of all those guitars, they picked mine.
Well, that's another way of seeing it,
It was definitely the weirdest guitar up there, but if anyone tried to work on it or open it up, it was just a mess of wires with this system and all the experimental stuff we had done.
Yeah,
I don't know if they'd be able to put it back together again. It had so many things on it,
Man, that sucks. That's pretty.
But if anybody out there, if there's any guitar players out there who've seen this guitar, the headstock is natural wood, and it says Skyway.
Like that one?
There, the name of the vibrato bar. Reach out, get in touch. I have a friend, John Steinman, who I've produced some recordings for. We're working on a new album right now. He has a band called The Lifters in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area. And he found this one on reverb.com for sale.
Oh, really?
I'm like, wow, really? Because you can't And
Yeah.
I need some kind of sparkly perloid something guitar if I'm going to be in Liberace's band. Let's face it.
That's right. That's right, man.
I'm making fun of my boss because he wears flashy suits.
Oh yeah, all the time. That's right.
Yeah.
Man, I want to ask you something. We're finishing already, but before we finish, I wanna, because I've seen your website, and I know you're selling certain T-shirts that they have a logo here that says "Here to Play," and I think that the money comes to help people in Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, my wife is a designer, and she does all the designs for my records and what have you, and T-shirts.
Okay.
She designed this really brilliant. This is a coaster.
I was gonna tell you, I love
a one-off coaster.
I love that art, man. I love it. It's pretty cool.
Well, good. Yeah. It is. It's a wave, and it's a Strat also.
That's right.
And I just thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Since I was doing a surfy thing.
Uh-huh.
And she's Australian, and this is where she's from.
Okay.
The northern beaches of Sydney.
Nice.
It's a very famous surf beach.
Okay.
And you'll find it mentioned in the Beach Boys song and here and there.
Okay.
It's where they have big surf championships.
Yeah.
So it was a natural choice.
Nice.
And she made this design, which is the Here to Play design, and the H and Y are a little different because they're my initials.
Got it.
That's kind of the concept behind it. But we've made a blue and yellow one, and 100% of the proceeds go to helping Ukrainian kids through Save the Children. Save the Children has a special Ukrainian
fund
section.
for okay.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so at HershelYatovitz.com you can find these shirts.
We have we have your website in the description of this video, so everybody can go, and please go ahead, because also the merchandising is so cool. And if you guys go and buy a T-shirt, you're also helping people in Ukraine. They really need us, and that's
sure
something pretty cool that you're doing. Thank you very much for that, Hershel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wish I could do a lot more. You know?
Well, but
we all do. It's a very challenging, helpless feeling, you know.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
You said it right. Yes. Well, and this is the last question. I promise you.
I could go for hours.
Okay. Well, I know we have 9 hours of difference, so for me it's later than for you. But anyway, I don't wanna steal your time. That's Another cool thing that I saw in your website is that you have a section in which you talk about meditation, you know.
Oh.
So I wanted to ask you if that's something very important for you, if it helps you to become a better musician or just an overall better person. Can you tell me a little bit about what does that mean for you?
Yeah, well, it does all those things. That's a question that would take an hour.
Well, okay.
really getting quiet and still. That's where we can receive. That's where we can receive universal truth from the universe. If our brain is busy and the hamster wheel's spinning,
okay, in
our brain, then we don't have a shot at getting that kind of centered feeling. You know,
yes.
To be centered and calm and still is something that needs to be practiced, because most people in modern society have a very busy head.
That's right.
I just, I met a friend who invited me to a meditation gathering at her house. It was like 5 people, and she guided us through it, and it felt really good. So I kept coming back.
Yeah.
And it led me to the most incredible stories, situations, experiences. It completely changed my life. And I have on my website a very simple example of one type of meditation where you use a mantra of a few words. I think the one I put on there is "We are the love, release the fear."
That's right.
And you just silently repeat that in your head. And by using a mantra, repeating something, like in Transcendental Meditation, they use words that you don't understand.
Okay.
They're in a different language or whatever. It's just a sound that you memorize.
That's right.
So that your brain has something to do.
Okay. And
in TM, that makes a lot of sense to me, that you don't understand what they are. Because it keeps everything wide open. But for me, what impacted me a lot is when I worked with a teacher from Vietnam, to use something that is meaningful about your spiritual growth. And so the basic concept is that our cells hold lots of information, and some of it is negative.
Yeah.
And a lot of it we don't need anymore.
That's
and we're
right.
carrying it around. And some of it is believed by many, even contains information about our ancestors, our family bloodlines. And we can help to heal all of these energies by releasing them. And so it's about opening up your energy centers, your chakras, and then allowing it to go out the top of your head up into the universe. And then more clean light energy can come in and fill the spaces left behind. And so it's kind of a washing process, release and refill, release and refill. And it has been so powerful. And it sounds like a bunch of woo-woo stuff to people who are kind of against that. But if they try it, I've never seen somebody try it and not go, oh, that something happened there. That was, even real naysayers,
That's right.
And you'll find a lot of creative people, a lot of famous people practice meditation.
Yeah.
Whether it's David Lynch with the TM thing, he's a big spokesman for Transcendental Meditation. Or musicians, actors, all kinds of people. I really believe that if everyone on this planet meditated, there would not be war.
Man, that's a pretty bold statement, but
you can't. If you get quiet, you connect to the source energy. That's the energy that we're made of. It's where we came. It's where we'll return to, and we're made of it. So, it is not natural for us to kill. Yeah. Unless it's for food.
But yes, I get it, and I think it's pretty nice that you have that section in your website. I mean, you're a public figure, you're a musician, you're an artist, but you also try to help people with this thing that you could just do for yourself and just not talk about it, but you decided to create a section on your website, and also you have a couple of recordings, right, in which you have these meditations, that can help people, and that's a pretty cool thing. I really appreciate it, and I thank you for that. It's very nice, man.
Well, all I can say is thank you back to you for that, because it makes me feel good. It's what I'm trying to do, is just in my own little micro way, trying to lift people up,
That's awesome, man. That's pretty cool.
That's what I always liked about music and about comedy. I have a bad pun habit, and I haven't been able to kick it yet.
Okay.
But I found out early on that if I can get people to laugh, or or play music to lift them up, that feels like it's the right thing for me to do. And I'm not good at. I don't have natural comedic talent very much. So, I'm glad I chose music.
Well, I think you chose a career that fits you like a glove, man. It's you're an amazing musician, and and that shows every time you pick up the guitar, when people hear your songs and everything, you know. So that's I mean, we're lucky to have you in this world, and we're also very lucky here to have you in this conversation, in this podcast, and in the Vegatron family, of course. You know, it's amazing. Thank you very much, Hershel, for doing this. You've been a gracious guest, and I really appreciate it. And hopefully we're gonna be able to jam together again, man, soon.
I hope so, man.
Yeah,
I hope so, because I need to learn a few things.
No, I'm the one who needs to learn, man. Yeah, man. Well, let me say the discount code for the VT1. That you guys can go to the website and just put in this code there. You can get a discount, which is pretty nice. The code for tonight is Hershel #39 HERSHEL #39. El código de descuento para esta noche es Hershel HERSHEL # almohadilla 39. Hershel 39. That's the discount code for tonight.
Man, well, I'm really moved. I've never been a discount code before. That's awesome.
Well, you are now, man.
I can cross that off my bucket list, man. That's great.
That's right. Well, people are gonna, type your name on our website to get their discount, which is pretty nice. Well, thank you very much. You want to tell us about some upcoming projects that you have, that you might have?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a full summer ahead with Chris Isaak and Lyle Lovett doing a co-headlining tour.
Nice. Okay.
Which means co-headlining means that both bands play a full set and we take turns playing first or last every other night. Okay. That makes everybody feel important.
Okay. I get that. Awesome, man. Pretty nice.
Yeah, well, so we're going to be, that's a U.S. tour. Sadly, we're not, we don't have any Europe plans yet with the pandemic and everything. It's a little tough still, but I sure hope to get back over there soon. And we're also playing, the next show we have is this massive, incredible festival in Louisiana and New Orleans.
Nice.
Which is called the Jazz and Heritage Festival, and that's on May 6th.
Okay.
So we're really looking forward to that. It's just insane. They've got, I don't know, I'm sure it's got to be at least 100 bands. If not 200 or something.
Nice.
Like the lists are just amazing. And so I'm pretty pumped up about that. Getting up in a huge festival is always a real boost.
That's awesome, man. That's pretty nice. Well, hopefully we're gonna see you soon in Spain, and if not, we're gonna have to go there and visit you. Whenever you guys play over there, I'm gonna be glad to see you. From the crowd for sure. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Hershel Yatovitz.
Thank you, Stefo.
Thank you very much for this, man. And well, we're gonna leave it here. We're gonna wrap it. For the rest of you guys, in 2 weeks we're gonna do this thing again. So till then, be safe, be happy, play a lot your guitar, and see you next time, I guess. Bye, Hershel.
Bye. Take care, everybody.